Peter,
Hey,
let me see that book cover again. Raise it. Let's see. Yep.
there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, good.
Marketing,
Good.
sell smarter, not harder. That's the idea.
That's right. We got you up so early in the morning. At least plug your book, man. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it. When we were talking a little earlier, one of the things that you brought up is the real question is how do we drive revenue growth through better utilization of existing resources?
Yeah.
And I want to direct a question to you with that in mind. And that is, when we think about fostering productive relationships between sales and marketing and improving the customer experience, let's hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so look, sales and marketing alignment is not a new subject. We've been talking about this for more than 10 years now. And everybody agrees it's a good idea, right? There's nobody saying, oh, no, we shouldn't do it, right? But the big question until now has been, how do we do it? How do we get started, right? And Ashlyn, you've alluded to that to a small degree already. But the biggest challenge is actually to get the conversation started internally and to get away from the adversarial marketing. Your leads are no good. Our sales, you guys are just too lazy to follow them up. We've all had that before. And we're starting off with an adversarial relationship. And so how do we get these combating people to actually work together, right? And the glue to everything and the key to everything is the customer. Nobody will disagree that we need to focus on the customer and the customer's outcome. Right? Of course, revenue and profit and everything else will follow. But if we focus on the customer and do everything with the customer in mind, like Jeff Bezos says, then it practically forces the teams to be on the same page. Right? So focusing on the customer is the ideal, and that really gets us started. Now, the other thing is that if a guru like me comes in from the outside and says, Eli, you're doing everything wrong, let me tell you how to do it right, you're not going to be very enchanted with that notion, right? So the way that my book describes the process that you get this conversation started in the first place and make everybody part of the solution rather than part of the problem is to actually get an internal dialogue started in terms of what would happen if we did work together? What would the outcomes be for us? What would be the outcome for me personally? What would be the outcome for the customer? And people will discover that miraculously wonderful things will happen, right? And the important thing is that they discover that for themselves. They make it their solution and they become part of the solution and stop being part of the problem. And then they go, if this could happen, how would we go about it? And then there's people like Ashlyn and myself who actually help them structure that and get a step-by-step process in there to actually bring what I call smarketing, sales and marketing alignment, into the organization and make it stick. And the important thing is that it's not just the idea of either the sales manager or the VP of marketing. It's actually got to be baked into the culture. And that's where Alice and I have talked about it in the past, that really the CEO needs to be involved from the top to orchestrate everything and to say, look, I'm behind this. I want this to happen. Make it happen. Right? Because if it's just the lonely idea of a couple of people, it's not going to work.
Right.
We've got to have the people, the process, and the technology in place to actually make the alignment happen, and very importantly, make it stick.
Yeah,
so
good.
If you align sales and marketing and everybody's on the same page and everybody focuses on the same thing, namely the customer experience will be fantastic. Sales will win because they make more sales. Marketing will win because they get more attribution towards sales and get more pats on the back and actually get recognized for revenue. And let's not forget the customer will win because they get a better buying experience.
Right. Yeah, good. Thank you, Peter. Thank you. We're obviously focused on B2B customers at this moment. So I want to think about that for a second and ask each of you to help us understand, how do you deliver value in every customer interaction? We call those moments of truth, don't we? Yeah. So Peter, building on what you just said, What would you say to that question?
Well, if you just have sales and just marketing focusing on the customer experience, of course, you're not living your values, right? Even non-customer facing parts of the organization, like say finance, have an impact on the customer, because if you send out one wrong bill, one wrong invoice, there's going to be a pretty disenchanted customer there, right? And then the salespeople and the frontline facing people have to struggle to make good again, right? So if you don't have a customer focus in every single part of the organization, you're actually not drinking your Kool-Aid. You're not living the values.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Peter. That makes sense. Ashlyn, what would you say to that question?
It's such a great question, and I think it's something everyone is thinking a lot about right now. And my answer to that would be, I think it really starts with actually understanding what experience your customers even have. What journey do they go through? I think most companies and organizations are so thoughtful about their own processes. I've seen it's like, okay, well, here's step 1A and 1B and 1C and 1D, and they get so internal process driven that they forget that is not their customers do not exist to go through their linear process. Their customers have their own steps and their own cycles in their organization that they go through, and that you may not have anything to do with some of them. So I think mapping and understanding the journey your customers are going to, and then knowing where you come in at that and what they need at that stage is the right way to do it. You can optimize your own processes and look at all that, but take your own hat off, get in your customer's shoes, and think about what they're going through. And that's the start.
I love that. That empathy. Yeah? The empathy. Walking in your customer's shoes. I like that. Steve, you have so many functions reporting to you. You know, you got technology, you've got operations, you've got so many functions reporting to you. How does Insperity do this to deliver value at every customer interaction?
Well, I think you referred to it in the intro, Eli, and that had to do with the fact that we are a sales-driven organization. And how do you really get this into a part of organization that are not salespeople? I mean, I have parts of our organization that are human resource professionals, that are payroll professionals. The last thing they would ever want to do in their life is to have to pick up the phone and try and generate enough interest for me to go talk to them, right? They would be terrified of that. However, you know, the business model is such that keeping a customer longer generates longer revenue, and so it really is showing that value with every interaction, and we do it through a culture of care. If we can really communicate through every interaction that we're here for you, we weren't here to sell you and then never see you again. We're here. What is it that we can do to help you in your business? What is it that we can do to help you grow your business, which every business owner is interested in doing? So getting on the same side of the table. And I have heard this many times from our customers. Quotes that I've heard is, I feel like that you genuinely care about me and my people and my business. You display care that you're really interested in my success. And if we can get that communicated and pervasive through an entire organization, there's your value that will keep you a customer for life.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, well, being on your board, I know we talk about retention rates quite a bit, and Insperity leads the industry when it comes to retention, customer retention. And I know how well you do that. And I think that's part of the secret, isn't it? It's part of that culture. That's right. Yeah, that's great. All right. Well, thank you all. Alice, do we have time for questions?
We do, and we have a couple of them.